Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas. Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados.
Because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness!
Hello everyone, I'm Alicea.
And I'm Nathan.
Welcome to episode 134 of Adventures and Mousecapades. This week we are talking about how nice it is to be on the other side of the interview table for a change. We met Sam and Brian, hosts of the amazing DCL Duo podcast, at a work event where we were all on a panel talking about, what else? Planning Disney vacations. That spun us into being on their show, and that episode just launched this past week. We had such a great time talking with Sam. Brian had a work conflict come up at the very last minute. Yeah. We don't know what that's like at all.
No.
And it was so much fun to talk with them.
Yeah. Instead of Sam's infamous lightning round at the end of the episode, we were basically subjected to a full episode of lightning round-esque questions and got talking about all sorts of cruising adventures. Yeah. We think it came out pretty great. So if you're interested in even more from us, including a sneak peek at a past trip report that we haven't quite gotten to yet, go check out episode 442 of the DCL Duo podcast in your podcast app, or over at dclduo.com.
Speaking of past trip reports, this week we are coming to you from June of 2019. I don't know why I was sounding like that. I'm sorry. And our last Disney vacation in the before times.
Yep.
Caitlin was 14 years old and right about to start high school. Sterling was 7, and we were 5 years younger than we are now.
Yeah, exactly. This was a 12-day journey, basically the second half of June, right after school ended for the year. And staying true to our family vacation playbook, Alicea and I told the kids that we were taking a road trip to San Diego. Yeah, we got close.
We did not go to San Diego.
No.
We left our beautiful home at around 9 in the morning on June 18th. And other than getting from the Seattle area down to the Oregon border, our goal is to stay off of I-5 as much as possible.
Absolutely. So we headed over towards Astoria in Oregon and basically just took 101 and 1 all the way down the coast. Man, if you haven't done it, a road trip on the west coast of the United States is absolutely stunningly gorgeous and beautiful. Yeah, looking through these pictures makes me want to kind of do that again.
Can we even do that again? Didn't 101 close in California because of landslides into the ocean?
Yeah, it gets rebuilt and reopened and changed, and yeah, there may be some spots that we need to skip, but hopefully someday I would love to recreate this trip for sure.
Yep. It was 3 days of driving rather than a day and a half. I think normally it takes about 18 hours.
Yep.
We stop in around Sacramento, where if we want to try and get a little further south, we do. But Sacramento is a great place for us to stop when we drive down.
Yep. I-5 is the most monotonous and boring drive in the world going through the Central Valley of California. It is just... I would much rather take an extra couple days and go out on the coast. And we'll get to it, but I actually think we should have spent 4 days going down because we ended up missing a spot. Well, we didn't miss it. It was just in the middle of the night, which, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. So anywho, we went down and spent the night in Eureka, California. So basically just a little bit across the California border from Oregon. We stopped at all sorts of places. We saw the Trees of Mystery in Klamath, California. We saw this huge statue, classic Americana roadside thing of Paul Bunyan and Babe the Blue Ox. It was like a 49-foot tall statue. It was out in the middle of nowhere. It was really, really cool. I love that drive.
Yeah. And the Pacific Northwest coast is phenomenal. Yeah. The Oregon coast can't be missed, y'all. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yep. The pictures don't do it justice.
No.
The next day, we went to the Redwood Forest in Northern California, Humboldt Redwood State Park. Just go hug a tree. That's,
Yeah, the kids hugged a tree. I think we all hugged a tree.
yes, we all hugged trees.
Yeah.
We walked through trees. We looked inside trees that were partly burned out. Like, these trees are incredibly large. And again, pictures don't do it justice. You have to be there in sight to just witness how big these things are.
Tall and straight, and yeah.
Just huge. I mean, dozens of feet in circumference. Like, they're big.
Yeah.
We had lunch in Santa Rosa. I forget the name of the restaurant, but this is a classic Napa Valley little bistro. It was really, really good food. And I needed to stop and sample the local Napa Valley fare, as it were. I needed a glass of wine. So
I remember this being a really cute little town, and we're just like, hey, we're hungry. Let's find somewhere to eat. It's like, it wasn't a planned place. We just went to a little town and found somewhere.
Exactly. And it
Which is fun to do.
Yeah. Exploration. That's the whole point of these road trips.
Yep.
We stopped at the Marin Headlands Park there overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge, walked out to Fort Baker. This was so windy.
It was so windy. We visited a place in Washington that was similar to this with regards to wind speed.
Yeah.
I can't remember where it is. It's a dam somewhere.
It's out by Diablo, I think, on North Cascades Highway.
Yeah. It feels like the wind can almost pick you up and blow you away.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. And it was gorgeous. It was, Golden Gate Bridge area, it's overcast. There's fog rolling in, but it was really nice.
We had so much fun on this trip. We have all these pictures of all of our hair and everything just getting blown away. It was a little cool. The overcast, the bay fog was rolling in for sure. But yeah, it was fantastic to be there and share that with the kids. This was kind of a chance that Alicea and I had done a road trip 20 plus years ago at this point, pre-kids down through some of this area. And this was a bunch of stuff that we just really wanted the kids to see and experience. And, when you're parents, that's your right. You can do whatever you want.
Exactly. And we saw a helicopter fly underneath the bridge, and I'm sure they do that all the time, but it was kind of weird seeing that.
It was like, wait, what? What did I just see?
Yeah.
We continued to drive south. We stayed on the coast even through San Francisco and the city. We didn't get on the highway. Obviously, you had to go on the highway across the Golden Gate, but we took a right and went out to the coast and followed that along. We've been to San Francisco a bunch of times. I was there for work before my current job a bunch. And literally everything that we've been in San Francisco has been over on the Bay side. This was literally the other side of the city from anything that we've ever seen before. And it was night and day different. Like, it was shocking. I was like, this does not seem like it's San Francisco, but it's San Francisco, but it's right on the ocean. And it's a gorgeous area. Now, here's where I need to admit that we did not time this right. We should have spent the night somewhere down on the coast there in Monterey or Carmel by the sea or something, south of San Francisco, outside of the city, because we ended up driving through the US 1 with all the really high cliffs on the ocean, and there's some incredibly hairpin turns that come out of the middle of nowhere. Yeah, we did that in the middle of the night.
Yep.
And I remember one point Alicea was driving and she's like, no, I'm done. You're doing this.
Yep.
it was a little sketchy.
You were getting frustrated with me because I wasn't driving fast enough.
Which is ironic. Of the two of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't driving fast enough because it was dark and you can't see around corners, and I was being cautious. And Nathan's like, no, I'm just going to blow through this. Let me drive.
Hey, I almost only drove off a cliff once. We lived to tell the tale. It's fine.
Yeah.
We made it down to San Simeon, though, and spent the night there. And then the next morning, got up and had breakfast. We backtracked a little bit because we wanted to go to the Elephant Seal Vista Point north of San Simeon. And Alicea, if you had one word to describe Elephant Seal Beach, what would that word be?
Well, I wrote it down. I didn't even have to think about this because I looked at the pictures and I'm like, oh, yeah, it was stinky.
Yeah.
Those creatures are quite smelly.
Yes. And huge.
They are huge.
I had no idea how big they were.
Yeah, they are very large. There is a huge pile of them, too. I wonder what you call a group of elephant seals.
Ooh.
A few moments later.
Oh, well, that's not fun.
What is it?
A herd or a pack?
Yeah, that's not nearly as inventive.
A colony.
Sure.
Yep. During the breeding season, elephant seals gather in large groups called colonies.
Okay, well,
Yep. Not
we
fun.
were hoping for something better on that.
No, like a flamboyance of flamingos or something. Yep. All right.
well.
So there was a colony of elephant seals there, and they were quite rude too. They were farting up a storm or something, or maybe it's just the noises that they make. It's gross.
I think D, all of the above.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we continued down along the coast to Santa Monica, and we didn't stop to go to the pier or anything. I remember there was a sweet shop or a cookie shop or something like that that we had been recommended to go to, but we weren't able to make it. I think it was closed or something like that on that one day that we were coming through. But we hopped over and got on I-5 eventually. There's lots of highways, and they're all the number in LA. Whatever the roads were, we were on the highway for just a little bit.
Yeah.
And the kids thought we were still going to San Diego.
Yeah, we had passed a couple of Disneyland exits because Caitlin was like, "We're going to Disneyland, aren't we?" I'm like, "No, we're still headed down to San Diego. See, there's the Disneyland exit right there."
Right. And then we took one.
Yeah.
And the kids definitely freaked out. So mission accomplished.
Mm-hmm. And we stayed at the Fairfield Anaheim Resort right off of Harbor behind the McDonald's there. It's a good neighbor hotel, like really, really close to the entrance there. It worked out quite well.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, a good neighbor hotel is effectively the very close hotels that are right around Disneyland, and you get perks and things like that. You can buy packages through the Disneyland website that include tickets and hotel stays. Mm-hmm. It's all kind of like worked into the one big system where it's kind of treated like staying on property, if you will. Although there are some perks for staying in the hotels that you don't get for staying at the good neighbor hotels. However, it's different from Florida, where you have to go pretty far to not stay on property there at Disney World. So very different good neighbor hotels. This is one of them. They're really fantastic. I mean, it was great accommodations. It took us all of about, 3 minutes to walk down the sidewalk and cross the road at the crosswalk and get into Disneyland. So it's a fantastic location.
Yeah. Although we did ditch the kids this evening.
Well, I mean, yeah, you got to do what you got to do when you have a reservation at Club 33.
Our very first ever reservation for Club 33.
Good memories.
Yeah, we know we are extremely lucky and blessed to be able to do this. And I have a contact, and we were able to leverage that and get dinner at Club 33. And we were so excited to be doing this.
Yes.
We had reservations at 8 p.m., and going in this place and seeing it for the first time ever was just something else.
This dinner was magical. We had a beautiful table, just the two of us. It was right near the windows, and they timed the meal just so well that we got to go see Fantasmic kind of through the trees from the balcony there. The food was exquisite. The staff was incredible.
Yeah.
Alicea had her purse with her, and they brought over this little ornate footstool and sat it next to her chair, and her bag had someplace to sit that wasn't on the floor. Like, this place is swanky. It was so good.
You know it's a fancy restaurant when they have seating for your purse.
That's right. That's right. That's not a hook under the bar.
No.
We took all sorts of pictures here.
Yeah.
And we won't go through all the details of the meal other than to say it was indescribable how amazing this meal was and how much fun we had. And yeah, very, very blessed. This was the start of our ability to empty out their merch closet every time that we have a opportunity to go to Club 33. We plan to do that again here in a few weeks.
Yep.
It's just something you got a budget for.
Yeah. I think we figured this would be our one and only time that we were able to go. So we got a whole bunch of stuff. We got pins, of course. I got pins.
Yes.
There were a
Christmas
couple
tree
things.
ornament?
What's that?
We got a Christmas tree ornament?
Yes, this is where we got our Club 33 Christmas tree ornament that looks like the balcony of Club 33, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And they always have items there that are for members only that you cannot purchase. And I'm pretty sure there was like a lounge fly or something in there. Or no, it was a Dooney and Burke purse that I couldn't get. And I was like, oh man. And there's a lounge in there that we haven't been at because the only way you can get in there is if you are with a member. And we have never had the privilege of having dinner or lunch there when we are with a member. So
Indeed.
Maybe one of these days we will be able to do that.
Someday we'll work our network and we'll try to make something happen.
Yeah.
So not only did we get to see Phantasmic from the balcony, we got this picture as we were getting ready to leave, or a bunch of pictures really, of the fireworks show that they shoot off from, behind the castle kind of thing, perfectly framed in the windows and the kind of entrance lobby there up at the restaurant for Club 33. It's just, it was the perfect way to cap off just an incredible evening.
Well, we were also in the park that night.
True.
We had to do a ride, so
Yeah, I mean, we were right there.
why not Pirates?
Exactly. I mean, it's next door, so
Yeah. All dolled up riding Pirates of the Caribbean. Yep.
yeah, as you do.
Yeah.
The next day was our first full day with the family in the parks. And this was when Galaxy's Edge had just opened. So we were there on June 21st, and just 3 weeks earlier on May 31st, Galaxy's Edge, the Star Wars land, opened for the very first time there in California. It is a new land attached to Disneyland proper. The one in Florida didn't open for another 6 or 7 months, if memory serves. I could be a little wrong on that timing, but I know it was definitely later. When we were there at the beginning of the trip, it was a separate ticketed band that we had to get reservations for ahead of time.
We didn't have to pay extra, though.
Correct, but
We
it
just
was
had
a
to get
lottery.
reservations. Yeah.
It was a lottery. Well, maybe it was. I don't remember, but you had to get reservations.
Yep.
And we got reservations. So we had a 4-hour block from 8 a.m. till 12 noon to get into the land. And holy cow, folks, being there when Galaxy's Edge first opened, and I know we were 3 weeks later, but it was still kind of the same thing. Just the energy with that crowd of everybody walking in and it being their first time. The first time we saw the Millennium Falcon, the first time we saw like just the detail and everything that went into that space. Oh, like I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
It was an experience for sure.
It was incredible. It was so incredible. Now, Rise of the Resistance was not yet open. That opened in another 7 or 8 months, I think.
Yeah,
I think
it was a while. They were still building it.
Indeed. Working out the kinks.
Yeah.
They still have some to work out. But anyhow, moving on.
They had a lot of characters walking around, which was really fun. We had some incredible interactions with Chewie and with Rey. Like, Rey just talked to Sterling for like 5 minutes. They had full-on conversations about things, and she looked like Daisy Ridley. It was crazy.
It was amazing. It was the best face character casting I've ever seen. And what's really incredible, like we have pictures of our interaction with Rey. There's nobody else there.
Yeah.
Like it was a very limited experience that they were letting people in for. Like there's pictures of Chewie and there's 2 families around Chewie, maybe, I don't know, 7, 8 people in this picture other than Chewie. I mean, it wasn't our family because we were getting ready to go next, but he's walking through the park and there's just a handful of people with him. These days you go into the Galaxy's Edge, you go on to Batuu there, and the characters are absolutely mobbed. Like being able to be in the park for this kind of experience was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
And it's because it was still in the, I don't know what you would call this, like the preview.
I mean, it wasn't a soft open, but it again, you still needed that reservation.
Yeah,
They were
you still
very
need the
much
reservation.
Yeah.
And This was on June 21st.
Right.
And on June 22nd, reservations were not required anymore. So we were there literally the very last day that reservations were required. And it was just open to everybody the whole entire time the next day.
Yep. And it got swamped. And
We figured this entire trip would be crazy busy because of the opening of Galaxy's Edge.
And
it was not.
Dear listener, it was not. I think, if I remember correctly, everybody was afraid that park was going to be just mobbed and insane. We're talking like it was going to be Christmas level packed in the crowds in these parks. And it was not. I honestly think that a bunch of people stayed away because they were afraid of crowd levels, and the opposite happened. Like, it just didn't materialize. Now, I am all the happies for that working out in our favor for actually being there. But
California is a locals park.
Yes.
And the locals stayed away.
Yeah.
Because everybody thought it would be crazy.
Yeah.
So we really lucked out on this trip with regards to crowd levels.
Absolutely. I mean, we have these pictures. They were doing staged photos in front of the shopping area, and we have pictures with the four of us in front of like the big archway. And then you can see maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 other people in the space with us, like in the distance. God, it was
very nice.
Disney would love me to pay a lot, but I don't know what I would do, but I would love to have this kind of interaction and ability to just be in a space and not feel overwhelmed by a ton of people again.
This would be the separately ticketed events.
Yeah. 100%.
Where I know Disneyland has like Sweethearts Night and Disney Channel Night, stuff like that. Those are the ones where there's a lot less people.
Yep.
We tried blue milk for the very first time.
Indeed, I'm a fan. I know that's a hot take, and many people aren't, but I
like
enjoyed
both of them. The blue and the green. They're very different tastes, but I like both.
They are.
Don't mix them. They're not good mixed.
No. I remember you guys got a third cup and mixed it a little, and everybody was like, "Oh, this is a bad choice."
Yep,
and then you're like, "Do you want to try?" I'm like, no." Like, I've seen your reaction. I don't need to have my own.
The character interactions this trip were phenomenal. They were above and beyond.
Yep.
We got to see Dr. Facilier over in New Orleans area, and he he basically went off on Captain Jack Sparrow. He's telling the kids, like, if you see Captain Jack Sparrow, tell him I've got a beef with him. This character was amazing to see. I don't think I've seen him any other time, and this was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was good. We did a whole bunch of rides after we were out of Galaxy's Edge. We did do Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run while we were in there for that morning. That was amazing. I got to sit in Han Solo's seat. Man, childhood dreams just coming to real life. That was so amazing. We had so much fun. And then we did a bunch of other rides and things like that throughout the day. In the Tiki Room, got some churros and all sorts of good stuff. Because, you gotta have a Disneyland churro, right, Alicea?
Exactly. Those are the good ones.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
The next morning was Saturday, June 22nd, and we had breakfast at the Plaza Inn. We love this place for breakfast. It is an amazing character breakfast. So many characters.
It is. Captain Hook was there, and he surprised Sterling. He kind of snuck up from behind him, and I had this whole series of pictures of Sterling looking at me, and we were talking about various different things, and all of a sudden Captain Hook is just like looming over him from behind, and Sterling turns around, and Captain Hook has his hook like down, like right in front of his face. It's so cute. We've got an animation that Google Photos made for us of kind of a series of Sterling discovering Captain Hook was right behind him. We'll have to post that because that was cute. So fun. That was so cute. We saw so many other characters as well. There was Chip and Dale and Eeyore.
The original Sadness.
The original Sadness. I love that. I love that. TM. Let's see. Who else was there?
Max was there.
Oh, yeah.
Rafiki was there. Winnie the Pooh, Tigger 2, and Fairy Godmother.
Like this lineup crushed.
Yes. And I love when we go here, they usually have just a variety. It's not the same characters over and over. There's a couple that you'll see time and time again, but they will usually rotate through some of the more rare characters.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly certain they still do this. One of the reasons we like to have breakfast there.
Yeah. We'll have to go check that out. Do we have a reservation for that?
No.
We should fix that.
Okay.
Okay. So we spent the day again over in Disneyland, rode all sorts of rides and did all sorts of fun stuff. We got a railroad ride, and as we do, started to talk to some awesome cast members. And before you know it, we got to do a little mini private tour of Walt Disney's private train car called the Lily Bell. And
This was so cool.
as a Disney nerd, being able to see inside the car and everything was just amazing. The cast member was,
He was
so grateful.
I think he was a little shocked that we knew the name of the car. Like, because we were just talking with him. We asked him, like, how long he'd been working on the railroad. And just got on some good conversations, just learning about his history there. And I asked him, did I see the Lily Bell on this train? And he just stopped. He's like, you know what the Lily Bell is? I'm like, yeah, kinda. But I've never seen her. Like, I've never seen her. I've just heard about her. I've never seen her. And he's like, well, I can let you guys take a look if you want. You can't ride in it, but at the next stop, you can get out and just do a quick look in if you want. And we're like, oh my gosh, yes. So we got to do that. We got to take a couple pictures in between stations, or at the next station, I should say.
Yeah.
And yeah, this was really, really cool to be able to do that.
The magic happening right there. Like, this is the pixie dust that I love. And you can't go asking for pixie dust.
No.
It just happens. If you want a tip on how to, I don't know, maximize the chances of pixie dust happening to you, be nice, be amazing, be engaging, be cordial, be
in
warm.
other people.
Right. Just be a cool person. And, cast members are people too. There's no guarantee. You can't ask for pixie dust, but sometimes it just happens. And that's how it's always happened for us. We're just nice.
After this amazing interaction, we went over to California Adventure to go check out Cars Land and ride the Incredicoaster. This would have been Sterling's first time on the Incredicoaster. He did not like it.
He did not like it at all. We thought it was great. He did not.
It was, I don't know that the harness was over him all the way, or no, that's not it. He's too tiny.
He's a small kiddo.
I think he was bouncing between the bars a little bit, I guess, is what the issue was. So it was a little painful for his head going back and forth on the headrest there.
Yeah. He's still a little dude, but yeah. But it's okay. It's okay. We did Cars Land at night. We have just some beautiful pictures of Cars Land.
Yeah.
Folks, go do Cars Land at night.
Yeah.
It's stunning. If you're there at sunset, they do a whole show on the road there on Route 66. The name of that is escaping me.
It's like the Shaboom show or something.
Yeah, something like that. I know Michaela is shouting at her car radio right now as she's listening to this, saying, it's this. Yeah, I know it is, Michaela.
We
I know.
are crap
Sorry.
with names.
Yep.
We get our parks mixed up all the time. We just know we have so much fun whenever we're there.
Yeah.
I have a video on this evening because Sterling would not stop talking. And he wasn't talking to anybody. He was just narrating life. And I have a minute plus long video that I started probably about 2 minutes after he had already started talking. And he's just, I don't even know what he's talking about. He's just going and going and going and going. And he's like, are you videotaping me? I'm like, yeah. He's like, why? I'm like, because you keep talking and it's really cute. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he keeps going. Now, this is I think 11 o'clock at night. So he was probably a bit overtired.
A little bit.
Yeah.
We're great parents like that. Anyway.
We were all having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The next day, we took off from the parks and just kind of hung out, did a bunch of things in downtown Disney. I think we enjoyed some hotel pool time. We went to, they had this, I guess, what was the name of it?
I don't know.
It was some sort of pop-up. It was this like social media geared pop-up that I think was in the old, what was that? The ESPN Zone building that was there in downtown Disney. And they just made all of these different rooms that were basically backdrops to go take pictures in. And they were over the top and incredible. There's like huge rooms with like Mickey's bow in it, or backgrounds with Mickey hands making hearts, or It
was an Instagram just crazy place. It was just called a Mickey celebration, Pop-Up Disney.
There you go. There was a whole wall of Steamboat Willie Mickeys that you could take your picture
Black
against.
and white. Yeah, plushes.
Yep. We have Caitlin hugging the whole wall. And it was so fun. It was really neat. There's a lot of fun just walking around taking a bunch of pictures there. Mm-hmm. That evening, I think all of us were going to go to a concert, and the kids decided they didn't want to, and they just wanted to go hang out in the hotel pool and whatever. So Alicea and I drove down and went to a Hootie and the Blowfish concert. This was the group therapy tour, and Bare Naked Ladies was their opener. So this is basically our college relived in person. It was a lot of fun. It was amazing.
Yep.
It was amazing.
The next morning was Monday, June 24th, and we started off at California Adventure, just having a blast. And I think it was a later morning. I can't remember. But I think the first ride we had pictures on was Grizzly River Rapids. And Sterling was a little freaked out about this ride. He had so much fun on it, but just some of the pictures, just sheer terror on his face. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But he had a lot of fun. And if I remember correctly, both he and I got absolutely soaked and had to buy new clothing because we didn't have ponchos on.
That's right. You did. I remember that now. Well, that's why they have a merch shop right there.
Yes. But I got a nice, I got a Spirit jersey and I was happy with it.
There you go. There you go. We went over to the pier and watched the Incredicoaster go and just kind of hung out. This was, interestingly enough, kind of the beginning of us just spending some time in the parks, not having a huge agenda, and just enjoying the vibes and figuring out what's going on, doing some people watching, watching all of the water shoot out from the Incredicoaster takeoff area and stuff. It was a lot of fun. We had a really good morning.
We had lunch at Lamplight Lounge. Such a good restaurant.
Oh, amazing.
So many Easter eggs in there too. Mm-hmm. It's a fun restaurant just to look at stuff as well. Mm-hmm. Got to meet a couple of characters. There's one really cute interaction that Sterling had with Daisy where he told her that her outfit was the bee's knees, and she just totally melted. She thought it was the cutest thing ever.
We had dinner that night at Carthay Circle. This was a redo of an earlier attempt. I think one of the previous trips of several years prior to this to do dinner at Carthay Circle and then the World of Color package along with that. The last time we were there, Sterling had a nuclear meltdown after sleeping through dinner and woke up basically demon-possessed. One of our proudest and finest parenting moments. Not so much. This one went a lot better.
Yep.
Hands down, fantastic dinner. And then World of Color, always amazing. Some great pictures that we took from over there. And then because the night was young, and we didn't have anywhere to go and anything to do, we decided to head across the Esplanade and go in to Disneyland proper and headed right back to Galaxy's Edge. And this was our first time to see Galaxy's Edge at night.
Yeah, and I think the kids went back to the hotel.
Perhaps. I think you're right. Because as some of you may know, Alicea and I, we like to sample and figure out what's going on in some of the bars here and there. Yeah. And it may surprise nobody to know that this evening we closed Oga's Cantina there in Galaxy's Edge on Batu. And we ended up walking out of Oga's and just spending time in Galaxy's Edge and got these pictures. There's nobody there. Yeah. It was just incredible. And before Oga's was probably one of the most memorable things that I've ever done in a Disney park. And this is, I would say, stacks up with a few days prior with seeing the Millennium Falcon for the first time. I got to build a lightsaber at Savi's workshop.
And you didn't have to have a reservation at this time. It was so new, like they didn't have to do reservations or anything.
You could have reservations. Yeah. And we walked up and we were like, hey, we don't have a reservation. Is there any room? And I remember she's like, I don't know, maybe, well, let me check into it. And then she goes, do you know how much this costs? Because I remember them, having an issue with people walking up or doing a reservation and then finding out that they were building a $200 lightsaber.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh yeah, we know. We know that this is expensive and we're totally fine with that. And if this happens, it's great. If it doesn't,
that's fine.
Whatever.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you, spending some time and talking with us about the experience. And she came back a couple minutes later. She's like, I got you in. Let's do this. Man, build you a lightsaber. Oh,
yep.
It was incredible. I'm tearing up thinking about just this experience of not just assembling your lightsaber, but they have this backstory and a ceremony and energizing it for the first time. And it like rumbles in your hands and it is, yeah.
It's immersive. It's emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah. And before we even went in, it was really nice because we were chatting with the cast member, as we do. And she was showing us all these little intricacies about the park, these little Easter eggs. And there's one of the things that she showed us was some cargo boxes that are in the area have numbers on them, 77, 80, and 83, I think.
Yep.
And those are the years that the first 3 Star Wars movies came out.
Yep. These are all above Docking Bay 7, which is where a bunch of the restaurants and Ronto Roasters no, take that back. It's not where Ronto Roasters is. That's over by the marketplace. Docking Bay 7 is its own little restaurant. Yep. But anywho,
I'm sure most people know this by now, but it had just opened. We hadn't really taken time to look around or anything because it was quite overwhelming. And just her taking this second or two to show us some things in the area that she was excited about was really fun.
The next day on Tuesday on the 25th, we got up, we hit Galaxy's Edge again. We are a Star Wars family. We had a reservation for 4 for that afternoon, kind of mid-afternoon for the family. And so everybody got to experience the fair, as it were, at Oga's. Still pretty out of this world. Not necessarily for everybody's palate, but,
Sterling had a lot of fun dancing to DJ Rex.
Yes, he did. He did indeed. We built a couple droids. And we just kind of had a day. We did Disneyland things. We weren't there taking pictures for content because we didn't have a podcast yet. So I'm filling in some blanks here, but I do remember it was just, we had such a great time on this trip.
Next day was our last.
Wah, wah.
We had breakfast at La Brea Bakery because it was good.
R.I.P.
Yep.
La Brea Bakery.
We tried to pull the sword out of the stone. None of us pulled the sword out of the stone.
Wah, wah.
The kids and I rode Matterhorn because Nathan refuses to go on that.
My back is messed up enough as it is.
Matterhorn chiropractic. Got on a couple of things over in Fantasyland. Got on the Storybook Canal boats. I love this ride. It's so cute.
Yep, it is. Sterling was like, "Oh, the whale's gonna eat us."
Yep, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Like we hit the teacups. We met the Mad Hatter. Sterling had a fun little chat with the Mad Hatter.
If I remember correctly, the Mad Hatter just kind of grabbed Sterling's hand and just started walking away and talking with him.
Seems about right.
Yep. And that evening, we got to see Phantasmic.
Yep, we stayed for the show, and we had fantastic seats for Phantasmic. Got to see Murphy. R.I.P. Murphy.
Murphy, yeah.
So many things. Murphy, if you're not sure, was the dragon, the fire-breathing dragon that Mickey fights. And
Maleficent.
Yes, exactly, Maleficent. And Murphy burned to the ground last year and is no more. So
Yeah,
it's okay. It's okay. And then closing out the night, a picture with me and a churro, sad churro, because it's our last Disneyland churro.
Yep.
At least for that trip.
For that trip. And the next morning, we were on the road.
Indeed. We drove home, did the opposite. Instead of running up the coast, we took the eastern side of the Sierra Mountains, and it was just stunned, like as amazingly gorgeous as being on the ocean is, being in these high deserts and the mountains and everything was just as stunning as everything. We got to see so many mountains and volcanoes and lakes, and like we were stopping at all these places to check out, and there was huge stretches of land that there was just nobody out there. I can neither confirm nor deny that a 2012 Honda Odyssey Touring Elite can get up to 120 miles an hour. Just we had an amazing day on this trip up into the mountains. We hit Lake Tahoe.
Prettiest sunset we've ever seen was actually on this trip.
Yes.
When we were driving. The pictures do not do it justice. It just cannot capture the intense colors that we were seeing. Red, orange, purple, yellow, blue, just neon almost. It was crazy.
Yeah. This was north of Tahoe. And as we were kind of swinging back over into the mountains, we spent the night near Mount Lassen at the Lassen Mineral Lodge. I will say it was comfortable. It is a lot more rustic than anything that we typically stay in. Yeah. I don't know if it's changed. Technically, they were right. The hotel had Wi-Fi. The upload and download speeds were 0.06 megabits per second. Like a stork would get your letter faster to somebody than you trying to text somebody over this Wi-Fi. It was non-functional, but you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. The next day, we stopped at the Mount Lassen area, the Sulphur Works over by Bumpus Mountain. I have no idea if I'm saying that right, but you could smell the sulfur.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting area, and you could see like all the trees that had died basically from the sulfur and everything. It was a very striking landscape.
We continued north through the mountains, kind of in the back roads. Again, staying off of the major highways. We hit Crater Lake National Park there in southern Oregon.
That was cool.
That was absolutely gorgeous. And then we continued north up around through the Mount Hood area, kind of drove around the mountain, and then we stayed the night in Hood River, right on the Columbia River, overlooking the river and the cliffs, and the other side you could see Washington State, almost home.
Yep. Had breakfast at a really nice place the next morning. I don't remember what it was, but we took a picture of the breakfast, and wow, it looks good. The scrambled eggs look good. Whatever French toast cinnamon thing that is, my mouth is watering right now just looking at it.
We should eat dinner. I'm getting hungrier than more. Okay, I'm scrolling past this because, we stopped that morning over in Mount St. Helens. Well, not in Mount St. Helens. We went to the visitor center there near Mount St. Helens. Gorgeous vistas to see really what nature can do when she gets a little pissed off. If you're not familiar, Mount St. Helens in 1980, 81, I forget off the top of my head.
I don't know. I was little.
She blew her top, and basically the top third of the mountain is gone and laid waste to the surrounding area for miles and miles. It's just devastated, and to this day there's places that are deforested, and it's just seeing that power of nature in person is stunning.
So I've visited this multiple times over the years. When I was probably 10 or 11, my dad took me, so that would have been 88. Yeah, so the late 80s, my dad took me on a helicopter ride over Mount St. Helens, and there was no green when we did that. I remember that. There was absolutely no green anywhere around there. And seeing it now, or 5 years ago, or even a little bit before that, because I know we'd visited it before that, just seeing the amount of green around the area and just seeing nature coming back in most of the places it's so nice to see. Nature is persistent. It can live in some of the most unforgiving areas.
Yep. And just the power of that mountain and it's on full display there for sure. Unfortunately, that visitor center that's really close to the mountain is still closed. They had a big washout, I think, a year or so ago. And they haven't finished rebuilding that road yet, so it's closed this season. There's still a visitor center that's it's fairly near, but you don't have that stunning vista of being on Johnson Ridge and overlooking right there at the mountain. So still worth going up if you're in the area.
Yeah.
We had thought about hitting Mount Rainier that day or staying out another night and then doing Mount Rainier the next day. And it didn't happen. I think we were all ready to get home. And so after Mount St. Helens, we just finished off a few more hours of driving and got back home here in the Seattle area. So yeah, that was an amazing trip. Alicea, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Would you road trip this again?
I don't know. I'm not keen on road trips. I know you love road trips. I just don't like being in a car that long. Like I get antsy. Like I want to go where we're going.
Yeah.
Now, it's amazing. It's fun. It's nice to see all these other places, but I'm like, I just want to get where we're going.
Yeah. If we were going to do a road trip that didn't include Disneyland, say if we just wanted to, maybe do this route, down the coast and back up through the mountains and everything and just do it to do it, where the drive and the stops along the way are the adventure, would you be more interested?
I don't know. Possibly.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
We've tried to do things spontaneously before where we'll just drive until we find a hotel. Those don't work well with us and our personalities. We do like to have things planned out. Like we like to figure out where we want to stay each night. And I think sometimes when we do that, like what happened with this trip is we miss places that we still want to see.
Yeah. Well, we had a date that we needed to be in Disneyland because that evening we had a Club 33 reservation.
Yeah.
And so like it was really time boxed, going down. We had a lot more wiggle room coming home. We had an extra day's worth of time because we got home on a Saturday. We could have stayed out till Sunday. But yeah, I'm with you. My biggest regret for this trip was not taking 4 days to go down the coast and doing it in 3, because I think I want to see the cliffs on one on the coast, on the California Coast Highway there. That's still on my list to do. I know we drove through it, but we didn't really see it in the middle of the night in the pitch dark. Same thing with the Badlands and
on the drive out to
to Washington from North Carolina when we moved out here 3 years ago. We drove through the Badlands in South Dakota in the middle of the night and didn't see that. No. So
to me, driving is not relaxing at all.
That's fair.
At all.
That's fair.
I do not zone out when I drive. I'm hyper aware of everything that's going on around me. And at the end of the day, I'm exhausted. Like I'm just wiped out.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I just don't enjoy road trips as much, because my brain is engaged and it's working hard.
All right. Well, I'll take that into consideration for our potential future summer trips. We'll just have to see what happens.
This was a good trip, though. I did enjoy it, and I know the kids did too.
Okay, good.
And with that, we are not affiliated with Disney or their subsidiaries. These are personal opinions and suggestions based on our own experiences. We recommend working with a travel agent or contacting Disney directly to plan your perfect vacation.
If you have questions or suggestions or would like to be interviewed on our show to share your Disney experience, please send an email to podcast@ourmousecapades.com.
Follow us on social at Our Mousecapades. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, YouTube, and even Twitter sometimes for now.
For now. Please give us a rating and a review in your podcast app, especially Apple Podcast. It really helps people find us.
And of course, don't hesitate to share us with your friends and fellow Disney lovers of all ages.
Thanks for listening. We'll be in your ears next week.
Thank you for flying Star Tours. Bye-bye.